people that are up there that are like, I just met a girl and I said...
that guy's not doing his own taxes.
Yeah, meanwhile, they're like, they've gotten the paperwork together to buy a house. You know, they've got like a small
bullshit.
Business registered.
A side hustle.
There's a whole world out there. It's like people that are too attractive. Get out.
No.
This is for us. This is all we have.
That's been the worst thing. I get some hot girls coming to my shows and they're such cunts. And I'm like, at least there's that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, at least, because you don't have anything else. So just being a bitch who's hot, fine. Sit there with a bitch face on. I'm like, good.
Hello, world, and welcome to How to Do Everything, a podcast in which I, Tommy Dassolo, a stupid young man, are attempting to assemble a complete guidebook to the human experience by chatting with different guest, quote-unquote, experts, no offense, about what they've learned, what they've always known how to do, and what they feel the stupidest about. Thank you for joining me. I have a show coming up in Sydney and Brisbane, not in that order, May 10 and May 17. TommyDassolo.com, May 10 in Brisbane, May 17 in Sydney. I'm just trying to make this as unclear as possible, but it's my new stand-up tour, main character. Did the show in Melbourne, had a wonderful time. Would love to see you if you are in Sydney or Brisbane. Come and check out the show. I recorded this intro already, and then the coffee that I was drinking during it started to really take hold just afterwards, and I thought, it's time to do this mother all over again. It is hard. It's hard to fire yourself up when it's just you. When it's just you sitting at the computer by yourself. No one else in the room, but the dog was here before and even he's gone. Anyway, today on the show, Jess FUCHS. Jess FUCHS is a amazing comedian from Sydney. I did a few gigs with her the last time I was up there. Thought she was great. And then she was down here for the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. And so I thought, why not drag her in to the new studio, in fact, where I've just started recording out of. You don't care. So, yes, the famous survey that I sent out to everyone before the episode, Jess really zeroed in on her ability to connect with anyone and everyone. And I got to say, I've been privy to that. I met her once briefly at a gig, and then next thing you know, I'm inviting her to be on this incredible podcast. So yes, great chat with Jess. Let's just get stuck into it. I think now this intro's gone too far the other way where I'm almost too enthusiastic. But here we go. This is How to Do Everything with Jess FUCHS.
I have a sick fantasy of being invited back to my school to like give a speech.
Oh yeah,
about being like, she's gone and she's become famous and successful. And I'm like, what's up, bitches? And then, but I haven't been invited back yet. So I changed my email since high school, so maybe they don't have my email.
Yeah, what was your high school email?
I think it was an Outlook.com.
Oh, Outlook.
Yeah,
that's very adult.
I know. I was a mature woman, and then now I'm a Gmail.
Yeah, okay.
So
this was a topic of conversation that came up with friends recently. A costume party where you have to come dressed up as your childhood email, your first email address.
Oh God, like an MSN vibes.
Yeah.
What would mine have been?
What was your first Hotmail account?
This is
or
going to
Outlook?
sound crazy. Either I'm not remembering correctly, or I'm not silly. I'm not a silly person, and that was from day dot. I'm like, I'm funny. There's a difference to me. Funny and silly, two different categories. But the silliness of like, I don't know. I'm trying to think if someone's like, what was yours?
Mine was hangman@hotmail.com, which so embarrassing. But for this costume party, I'm getting
that's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm getting to turn up looking pretty cool.
That's so funny. Yeah, see, I didn't have any of that. I just think I was always just my name,
just first name.
I'm like business. Let's go, bitch.
God.
Well, also, yeah, I think I did have like a Jess.FUCHS or whatever. But also, I think with my last name being FUCHS, like, it's kind of whatever, you know. The name's already picked on and whatever. So when everyone's making up like Hangman, I'm like, whatever. I've got FUCHS as my last name.
Yes, right. So everyone around you at school is like, you know, Sexy Jelly Bean.
Yeah, and I'm like
81
I'm
or
just
whatever.
FUCHS.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I'm good. I don't need to make up little things.
Well, that's a hell of a costume for this party. You're gonna be busy.
Exactly. I'm swamped the whole party. Actually,
better get there early, sort of get the lay of the land, suss out the
set it up, set up the bedroom. Yeah,
use.
Exactly. That's the thing. I don't think I ever had. I'll think about it, but I don't. I think MSN. I would do statuses. You know, like you know, you put your name and then you put like a song you're listening to, or you make some little dig at a friend or something.
Song on there, Lord.
I miss how moody social media and communication platforms used to be. Like you think about your MySpace and you had your top friends.
Oh yeah,
and that was bitchy.
Yeah,
I'm like, there's no real like. Now it's almost social media. Now that I think about it, it's like everyone's like jealous and got comparison culture of like, look how cool this person's holiday is, whatever. I'm like, we used to be ruthless with like what music we're listening to and what friends we've got, and it's like savage.
Yeah.
I think we should bring back like the savagery of social media. Actually,
I know. Yeah, that's a good point. Are kids now like it's
savage in the wrong way?
Is there like brutal? I guess there's like brutal TikTok culture of people make like.
True.
There was such an emo edge to having
I think
your
that's
like,
what it's missing.
Having your like depressing song lyrics in your MSN name. And
totally, and kind of like the MSN status, which would have like a subtle dig at someone you hated.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, like those kind of like bitchy like. Kind of remarks. It's like, yeah, you can do TikTok, but like, I think it's missing the emo edge.
Yeah, big time.
Come to think of it.
Did you have, because my girlfriend at the time had a MySpace page where she'd gotten all the plugins where you could do like, you know, the moving background.
Yes.
And like every time I would go onto her page, it would legitimately crash my computer because there'd be like some
overheat.
There'd be like some waves crashing as the background. There'd be like a gif of a dolphin swimming around. Then there'd be there'd be like these like 19 different things all trying to load at once, like just overloading the computer.
Truly. What's so funny about that too is we were doing that on dial-up.
Yeah.
And now you got 5G and people get grumpy. It's like we were waiting for dolphins to fly over your screen through fucking dial-up.
Yeah.
We're so ungrateful. It's so crazy to me. Like I've been thinking about this, but I can't seem to figure out what the point is on stage to talk about it. But this idea of like, you know, like I got high, I took an edible and I'd like to take an edible and I'll walk outside. And I know some people, like some of my friends, they'll smoke and they don't want to leave the house. They're like too scared. I love it. But I was out and like, I had the realization, I was like, oh my God, we're just like monkeys. Like humans are just monkeys who like built stuff. And like we built buildings and we made the internet. And I'm like, of course the internet crashes sometimes. A monkey built it.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like I just think the same with the internet. It's like, you've got dolphins flying through your fucking screen on MySpace with a Paramore song and you're mad that it's not loading in 1 second.
That is a really good way of viewing the world where it's like a building collapses and you're like, yeah, why wouldn't it collapse?
Yeah.
You think of
certain
things in the world that you think of like, is it infallible because it's like, well, a plane should be,
we're so pig-headed
destination.
We're so pig-headed. We think humans are like perfect and infallible. It's like, no, you've met a pilot. They're idiots. I've met doctors. You know what I mean? Like there was a girl who in my year or maybe it was the year above, she's now a doctor. I remember she used to brag about jacking off a goat at a farm once. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, that woman's a doctor and you go into the like emergency room and you think you're going to be well taken care of. We're monkeys.
That is kind of the thing that like imprisons you within the world of stand-up comedy is that like at a certain point you've shared most of the embarrassing, shameful thoughts that you've ever had and there's like a public record of it that means that if you ever were to be like, this isn't for me anymore, I want to, you know, work in politics or whatever, no chance. Whereas most people, they get the benefit of like becoming a doctor and you know, their patients aren't going to know that they ever like jacked off a goat.
They haven't told people.
Of having that swept under the rug. No, totally. I mean,
true.
You would have had this too, like the thing of just like the dumbest cunt that you knew at school logging on Facebook and being like, just finished my teaching degree. And you're like, oh God, Christ.
Children are not our future. They can't be if you're teaching them. No, it's so crazy. Seeing what the biggest idiots from high school are now doing, I'm like, oh my God, you're raising children. You're like, you've got a normal job. You make money. I'm like, that's the thing. It's very humbling to realize like, whatever you're up to, no worries. Like, you're a monkey. Like, no one's perfect. It makes it so much easier to be really forgiving of people because you go, yeah, of course you screwed this thing up. You're a monkey. Yeah. You're a little monkey. Like, it's so funny.
It is funny because, like, I am someone, like, I kind of hold myself to a pretty high standard and I'm so angry at myself if I screw something up, if I forget to reply to something, if there's like a weird buzzing throughout the podcast that I wasn't able to fix on the fly. You know, all these things.
Really beat yourself up about it.
95% of your life is like interacting with people who, like, I don't know, work at the bank or you real estate agent or just like all these
assholes,
people
incompetent,
who could not give a fuck, who are just failing
who are
consistently and are just like, oh, well, tomorrow's another day. It's like, so oh yeah, I don't have to be, why do I feel like I have to be perfect? Like,
there's a lot of people walking around with zero fear of failure. Yeah. And I appreciate the hell out of that. Yeah. I don't know if it's a creative thing or if it's people who are like pursuing something maybe that's a bit hard or unconventional. Like, I feel constant pressure to like always be doing a good job. And that thing of I'm trying to get better at this. This is a hard feeling of like, I can't bomb tonight because then that won't lead to this, which won't lead to that. Like it's I don't know what it's like everything has consequence. And so everything feels so important, but it's not. It's like we're having a nice time here. That isn't going to lead or it is going to lead to something. And even if it does or doesn't, it doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? It's such a hard like mental thing, but it's like, I do think these people who work whatever job you've got, they're just like, la, 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 nothing matters. I'm like, okay, well, you just did the wrong thing at your job. And they're like, yeah, but there's another day. Yeah. I'm like, fuck.
There's a new episode of White Lotus tonight. Who cares?
To be that carefree. What a pleasure. God.
To live your life as like watching maths being the high point. You know what I mean? It's just like, whatever. I sit in front of the computer, some stuff happens. Then I go home.
Then I wake up again.
Watch a bunch of fucking stealthers just argue with each other for an hour. And that's what gets me through the day.
There is
God,
a
it sounds great.
Yes. Doesn't that sound nice to... I wish there's some, I wish I aspired for just things that are attainable and not easy because people have struggles within whatever job they have. But like,
of course,
I wish it was like I wish I wanted an easier life.
I wish I was a normie. Yeah. I wish I was a complete fucking normie. I'm like at the moment, here's my source of shame. I'm trying to bring something to the pod every week that's like something that I do need to like learn how to do.
Oh, amazing.
I've moved into this spot. I've moved out of a like art studio that I rented for a few years, and I left it till the last possible minute to move out.
Amazing.
Which, to be fair, kind of the whole like time that I had lined up with like starting the comedy festival. So that was by design. I was like, I'll do it on Monday. I don't have a show that night. I need to be in there just knowing that I have nowhere to be in the evening. Yeah. It'll take a whole day, but that's fine. Yeah. So I went in there, got out of the studio, great. But now my car is just full of stuff that won't fit here, stuff I've got to take to the tip. And I have to get that sorted out. Yeah. But I'm seeing into the future to in a month's time where my car is still undrivable. And like my partner will often use the car to go to work, and I had to go like, hey, I don't think you can take it today because you can't see out any of the windows. I'm sorry.
It's not drivable.
It's not road safe. And the main thing on Monday was just get everything out of this studio. Doesn't matter where it goes. I just have to be out of here, vacuum the room, give the keys over. Yeah. And so getting everything out of there in the time limit felt like mission accomplished. Really patting myself on the back.
So that's going to feel
good. But it's so short-lived because now it's like I have this shameful... even just strangers walking past and seeing the car.
They're like, a man lives in this car.
Yeah, there's just
a man
rubbish
lives in here.
Yeah, there's just rubbish in the back of it. And it's like... just get on the website and book the curbside collection.
Well, this is the thing. I think we put off the things that are easy. Like that would take you 5 minutes to book it right now. Yeah. But we just don't do it, and then you build it up as like, this is going to be hard, this is going to be hard, this is going to be hard, or like, I can't do it, I can't. That shit is so easy. Yeah. Like, and you procrastinate. I procrastinate with the harder stuff, so I don't do the easy thing. It's like
it's the ADHD curse where then you get the thing done and you're like, now remember this for next time that this was actually easy. You'd like doing your taxes is like, it's a day. It's a long, arduous day.
Yeah.
But you get up, you sit there, and you spend the day, and then just have a little treat planned for in the evening.
Yeah, have something fun at the end.
Cut to next year, you're emailing the ATO in October. Sorry, boys.
Sorry about that.
Me again.
Put this one off a little bit. I said I'd do better this year, but
Yeah, I'll get you next time. Luckily, we have the, you have your
Luckily, we have
New Year's
until I
resolutions,
die every
and we
year.
also have the financial year that you can have a fresh start from the 1st of July if you really want.
Truly, and also, can't you pay your taxes back 5 years late?
I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah,
I don't
true.
want to get into this.
I think I made that up too.
You did list as paperwork, taxes,
true. Yeah,
all that kind of stuff.
Not a strength.
Not a strength at all.
My Achilles heel is doing anything involving a pen or a paper or a form. I can't do
comedian
forms.
that's good at admin
is not a good comedian.
Fuck off and do anything else.
I don't think it's possible.
Yeah.
I don't think being a good comedian and doing paperwork, I don't think there's an overlap.
Yeah.
Maybe a Tom Cashman because he seems like an organized man.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
But that's maybe that because he's just doing a PowerPoint.
Yeah, but then you have to make that your shtick. You know what I mean?
Right.
If the organizational brain is kind of part of the act.
Yeah, well, he does have a lot of graphs.
But people that are up there that are like, I just met a girl and I said...
that guy's not doing his own taxes.
Yeah, meanwhile, they've gotten the paperwork together to buy a house. They've got a small
bullshit.
Business registered.
A side hustle.
There's a whole world out there. It's like people that are too attractive. Get out.
No.
This is for us. This is all we have.
That's been the worst thing. I get some hot girls coming to my shows and they're such cunts. And I'm like, at least there's that. Do you know what I mean? At least, because you don't have anything else. So just being a bitch who's hot, fine. Sit there with a bitch face on. I'm like, yeah, good. Sometimes I get grumpy that they're sitting there kind of judgmental and they'll just be like, don't laugh through your nose. And then I'm like, but you know what? You're hot.
Yeah.
So, of course, you're not going to have a sense of humor or a sense of irony or be able to enjoy comedy. This is my theory and I've got very little to prove it, so you can, counter it. Male comedians were the losers who couldn't get laid in high school.
Thank you.
Conventionally. Mm-hmm. You're so welcome. Representation is important. Do you feel seen in this analogy?
I really do, yeah.
Traditionally speaking, a lot of the male comedians, it's because having a good sense of humor is valuable for men. Women love that in a man. So if you're not conventionally attractive and hooking up, you develop a great personality and are really funny. Whereas female comedians, being funny is not a value system for women.
Yeah.
So you can be other things, whether it's sporty or super smart or nerdy or whatever, other thing. Whereas being the class clown, the funny guy in school helped you be cool and well liked and get laid.
Yeah, whereas, it's the classic. It's the you're getting bullied. It's the defense mechanism.
Totally.
It's the way that you
totally.
I mean, there are a lot of comedians who are on the outer at school, but I think what is pretty common is my experience was I wasn't I was kind of somewhere in the middle. I wasn't.
But that's because you would have had a good sense of humor.
Yeah, everyone kind of knew me.
That's right.
I was not
sociable because you had a great personality that could be used as a social lubricant. Whereas the guys who were at least in my year in my school, the popular kids who were the cool boys, they're losers. Their personality was whatever. They were just attractive and happened to be have some sort of vibe. Some of them were really funny and whatever, but overall it's having a good sense of humor. And maybe it's not necessarily when you're young, but maybe as you get older, guys develop that because as they're hitting the dating age, they realize if I'm funny, girls will talk to me.
Yeah.
And then I can kind of, get in there. Whereas for women, I don't think being a funny kid or girl was useful in high school. For the teachers, they thought I was funny, and my friends, I was holding court with my friends.
Yeah.
But it didn't help me get laid in high school being an outgoing funny woman. Men were yuck. It was not as in, so I think that the pipeline for who becomes a comedian, there's more men, I would say, are more this kind of dude from high school.
You get the encouragement. But then
whereas the women, I don't think all the women or a chunk of the women were the dorky girls or the academic girls. I think it's kind of a variety of women end up being comedians because being funny is, whereas I think it's a useful tool for men. It wasn't necessarily a useful tool for women, if that makes sense.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know how to articulate it, but it's
no, I get you.
I just think the being hot or the kind of aesthetic of it all, it's guys, it's just a different background.
So a lot of what you kind of zeroed in on before the show was like your ability to like connect with people.
Yes.
So were you that person at school that kind of sat sort of in the middle? Were you like the glue? I don't know. I feel like I was like that at school, and I kind of feel that I'm less and less good at that as I get older.
Really?
I feel like more often than not, I'm in a conversation where I'm like, I just don't.
But is that you giving up as you get older? You just go, I don't have the fight in me anymore.
No, it's like I would like to be that person.
Okay.
I guess it is a bit of just like I'm like, I don't know. I certainly don't have the energy. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a lifetime of just being
beaten down and
very
social.
active in conversations and just like, I guess when you've hit a comedian, you are like, you know how to like ask questions and steer something. And
I also think there's a degree of like, and this is kind of tangential in a weird way, but it's like, you know, people who think about their weddings their whole life because they get to be the center of attention. It's a day for them. But I'm like, I do that every night.
Yeah.
Right? So the idea of walking down an aisle and people looking at me, I can't think of anything worse. The idea of like being the center of attention in like normal life. I'm not interested in that.
Yeah, someone was like, oh, you have a birthday thing every year. You love it. You love being the center. I'm like, no, I hate that side of it. I have a little thing because it's just a nice excuse to get my friends together.
And also some of your friends might hang out. Yeah, it's more
like
that.
I had a 21st and a 30th. I've never had a speech at any party.
I couldn't think of anything worse. I couldn't think of anything worse.
Just come here and fucking have a drink.
Sit around
and shut up. I don't want to hear what you think about.
We're going to sit in a dark room. You're going to drink a drink and you're going to shut the fuck up. And happy birthday.
Hear anyone talk about me even in conversation, they're out.
I want silence for 90 minutes and then everyone goes home and comes to my festival show. That's what I want.
Yeah.
But I think as you get older, I think it's like if you're used to being on stage or you're used to having a space where you can use your personality and get that attention, it becomes less appealing. Like in day, like I'll have my birthday too, but I can't. I've never had a speech. I would never want one. Like, or maybe for my like 25th, someone was like, showed up, made a speech.
The milestone
they like
birthday
put it,
of the
25th on my 27th. Like what? Maybe it was my 30th because it was in Sydney and I'd just moved back. But no, I was younger. Anyway, but someone made a speech, but it was completely self-appointed.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't need your feedback. I'm good. Like I don't need information from you.
My dad tried to give a speech at my 21st and I just shut it down. He got up and like, because I had been very clear, it was at home as my parents' house. And just all of a sudden, my best friend's up there. It's like commandeering. I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, your parents asked me to. I'm like, no.
Sit down.
Dad's getting all emotional. He's like tearing up. I'm like, all right, everyone, let's get back to it. And like my dad, he'll hate this coming up publicly, but he doesn't not drink, but he's not like a drinker. He'll have like a glass of whiskey or like a wine. Right. And that's it. And at my 21st, he got on one.
Love
and
it.
My friend, this really dates the story. My friend's gift to me was the Borat DVD that came in the gift pack with the man.
Wow.
A classic. What that scene in Borat has done for the Bucks party community is massive.
It's huge.
Unquantifiable. But end of the night,
true.
it was just me and like my girlfriend at the time and like maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 friends left over. My parents had a spa in the backyard and so we're in the spa and Dad comes out blind in the mankini. He's found it and he's put it on and he's in the spa and he's like on the nod and he's like, and so I'm having to like prop him up so he doesn't drown, dressed like Borat at his son's 21st. And I've brought that story up before and he gets very mad and he's like, no, that was your uncle that did that.
Yeah,
of like,
course.
Of course. It's just not denying that it happened, but passing it on to a whole different person.
I remember it being someone else. Yeah. Wasn't even at the 21st. Somehow was your uncle. It's like, what the fuck?
Dad, just own it. You're a messy bitch. It's cool. It's your,
I love
like,
that.
I'm an only child. It's your one child's 21st. You're allowed to get off.
Absolutely. You're an only child. Then he has
when
to.
I was 8 and almost died. It's like a miracle that I made it to 21. You're allowed to get shit
hammered, bitch, for sure.
Get fucking hammered. Drown in
That's
the spa.
crazy.
A hero's death.
Need mouth-to-mouth resucitation from your 21-year-old boy, for
100%.
sure. Oh, my God. See, with all that, he deserves to get absolutely plastered.
Yeah.
That is your dad's right. I believe that.
You just learnt so much of my lore in one story.
But isn't that kind of beautiful?
yeah. That's
it's
podcasting.
Nice to be able to like contain so much about you in one anecdote.
Right, 100%.
That's powerful.
100%.
I love that. That's so funny.
So yeah, you're a bit of a social chameleon, and it's carried through into adult life.
I just never found socializing hard, to be honest. And so I've got an older sister, and we always piss laughing at this now because I always had friends, found making friends quite easy. And for example, like I'd have friends over to my house and I'd be like, come, she's older, and I'd be like, come hang out with us. Cause like, look up to her and I want to spend all this time with her and all this stuff. And she'd be like, okay. And she's really smart and kind of really funny, but a little more quiet and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so she'd hang out with us. We'd be having fun. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do it. And then she'd have a couple friends over and I'd go into like hang out with her friends and she'd be like, get the fuck out, get out. And it was like, what the hell? And I was so young and I was like, oh my God, okay. And now we're older, we talk about it and we always bring it up. And she's like, well, because they would like you better. And they were my friends and they'd like you better. That's not fair. Right. But at the time I was like, I'm just here to vibe with anyone who's around. I don't give a shit who it is. But it's so funny because when I was young, like, I've never found socializing hard. Even now, like some scenarios, if someone's a little hard to crack, whatever, but I find socializing or just maybe connecting with people relatively easy. Yeah. And when I was younger, like I didn't realize that was like my skill and everyone else had skills, or like, my sister's super smart, like brainiac, like skip years in school, like is a doctor, like genius.
Yeah, right.
And like that was her, like not superpower, but that was her thing. And when you're young, you don't think socializing is a skill. And now as I'm older, I'm like, holy shit, being able to walk into a room and like truly connect with anybody is like so rare, especially now with everyone online and stuff. Like people leave their house and they're so socially uncomfortable. Yeah,
and after the last few years too, where people really like starve for connection and like it's so easy to take for granted, and then just like even in places where they didn't have that much of a lockdown, like a few months of just not being able to be in a room with your friends, you're like, people went mental. It's like,
of course,
you're like touch stuff. It's like,
you're like completely isolated, and you feel awkward and uncomfortable, and you leave your house, and it still has like ramifications. And we were all in our houses. We all became super addicted to our phones and the internet. Yep. And now we can go out and stuff, but like I'll go out and go to a bar or something, and if I see someone and I'm like, I love that jacket. Yeah, it's almost like, you can see me. It's like, yeah, bitch, you're out the house. And so I think like, just socializing is such a rare skill, it feels like now. It's wild.
I really was working overtime the other night, and I hope this person doesn't hear this. I'm not going to say anything bad, but
don't give any identifiers.
Yeah. Oh, it's kind of impossible not to. Okay. A friend of mine, a guy who I know from a while ago, had not seen him in ages, like years and years and years and years, and we'd reconnected a few months ago, hadn't quite been able to lock it down. He messaged me afternoon of my first show at the festival, and he's like, oh, I just finished work. I might come see you tonight. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. I'll put you on the door. Yeah. So he comes along. Very nice of him. Show finishes. He's downstairs. And I don't know what you're like, but after a first show, I'm so pumped to just sit by myself in silence. Yeah. Decompress, kind of think about
rock back and forth a little bit.
Yeah. Right, all work and no play. Makes Jack a dull boy. Hundreds and hundreds of times on the wall of my bedroom.
Absolutely.
But you just really want to get in the decompress and think about like, okay, what do I need to do for tomorrow? Yeah. Totally. Have I got a good show, or have I completely
Am I going to kill myself?
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
And then in that case, how am I going to go about it? Is Bunnings open?
Do I throw myself off the building? It's an Airbnb. My parents don't have the address. Who finds the body, etc. Yeah, just walking through all of that. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I wouldn't want my account to get banned because what if it doesn't work? I am going to want to get Airbnbs maybe.
I'm going to want to travel maybe. Yeah. I want to go travel later.
I get out of the psych ward, I'm going to want to travel. I'm going to want to go to Europe,
and I need that Airbnb. Booking.com just doesn't do it for me.
All these things, right?
Absolutely.
And so he's there, and he wants to have a beer, and I'm like, all right,
sure.
And I'm sitting there with him, and I'm like, oh man, so how you been? It's been ages. And he's like, going through a pretty messy separation at the moment. And my entire show is about me getting engaged and how much I love my girlfriend.
Amazing. Amazing.
So he just sat through all that, the real beginning of the process. He's 25 years in at the other end. And I really, I'm not saying this is like a bad thing or whatever. This is just, this is just how the cards fell.
Yeah.
I got the impression that he has not really had much of an opportunity to talk about this in his life, because it was a 90-minute trauma dump where
he did his own show to you then. Yeah.
So totally fine to sit and be the counselor and all of that.
Yeah.
I totally get it. But at the same time, I was like, man, if this was happening any other night, I just would be so much more. I felt so bad because I was like trying to be
you've
like.
You've got split brain. You're thinking about other stuff.
Yeah. I'm like, I got to do some posts tomorrow for the like numbers.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he's like crying to you, and you're just like, for sure, I have to boost my Instagram post tomorrow at 9 a.m.
It was getting so deep. It was like, she's threatening to take the kids, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, thanks for coming to the show. I'm so glad I put your name on the door.
But just him coming in not knowing what the show was about, like
you might have triggered a bit of that.
Night one, what the show's about, it was just fucking perfect. Like, because you mentioned that you're like you're reliable, like you're a support network for people.
But I think when you're social, which you're outgoing and you seem social to me, even though you think you've gone downhill as you've gotten older. But I think when you're either a warm person or a relatively social, comfortable person, it's very easy for people to come up to you and just be like, I'm losing the kids. Like, for some reason, like, I think often people will open up to me and tell me things. And also, to be honest, I have a terrible memory. Like, if you tell me something now, I wouldn't remember. And people are like, don't tell anyone. I'm like, bitch, I barely remember what you're saying as you're saying it, because I don't really care. Like, I care.
I'll wheel out the dad in the Borat Mankini anecdote 4 more times on this episode and get the same response.
Literally, I'll be like, whoa, you were 21 and you had cancer. That's crazy. But it's like, I just don't. Not that whatever you're saying doesn't matter, but I'm like, I'm not going and using whatever story you tell me to tell someone else. You obviously, if you're telling me a 90-minute story about your separation, you obviously need this. Yeah. And I'm okay to receive it right now.
I think that's it. I think I'm a good like support, in the sense of like, I think a lot of times with people I feel bad because sometimes a lot of the time people tell you something and you're like, I just don't really have anything to say to that. Like, I don't know how I can help you.
But sometimes it's not about help. You don't need a help.
That's the hard thing, right?
I think men tend to be a little more like fixer, and they listen and they want to like give you a solution, which I really appreciate. And I also am a little solution oriented. Like, if someone came to me, but something as I've gotten older, I'm really trying to recognize is like, if you're telling me something, yes, you might just need to be speaking to me, and I might need to just be like, that sounds shit. How annoying.
I know, because I try to be with my partner very much like, I'll start, I'll go off on one.
Yeah. And
she'll start being like, maybe you could do this and this. And I'll go, hey, I appreciate that. This isn't something where I'm actually looking for advice.
No.
This is just this is actually easy for you. Yeah. All you have to do is just sit and just hear.
Just listen.
I just want to speak it out into the world. And
I just want someone to be like, that sucks. And I'm like, that does suck.
And feel that it's out
there. And then I feel good.
And feel that I got it off my chest. And then get on with my life. Because sometimes it's like, there are things where there isn't really a solution to this.
No.
Or I know deep down what the solution actually is. But yeah, I had a run last year or the year before where I had like a lot of drama in my friendship group, and I felt like I was like absorbing a lot of other people's stuff and
problems
really
and bullshit.
Wearing it around. And I don't know if you're like this. I feel like I can at times be quite helpful to people. Like I can give people, and it's so classic, isn't it? Give people guidance that if it was me and me dealing with something, it's like, where's that?
Yes.
Where's that when I need it? I can wheel it out to someone else.
Yeah.
But when it's my own bullshit, it's
always harder. It's always harder. I was complaining the other day. I helped a couple of my friends with the structures of their festival shows. We like got together, blah, blah, blah. And I gave really good structure notes and, punch up notes and this and that. And then I did my first night and I just thought, now what the fuck is this? I said, what the hell is this? The structure's a mess. And but I had worked on it. It's not like I didn't spend time. I had worked on it, but it was, and I just said, and then I changed it around. And then I said to the two girls the other day, Annie Boyle and Kate Dolan, I said, I need you to come over and just listen to the structure. Hold a pillow over my fucking head. And listen to the structure, fix it, and then just put me out of my misery. I was like, I can't figure this out, and I feel like an absolute loser. And I had moved things around or whatever, and then we went through it, and they were like, yeah, that sounds good. So like I figured it out a little, but then they helped and whatever. And I was like, how can I do this for someone else?
Yeah, and you're like, if that was someone else's show, I'd be able to. Yeah, I need to.
When you're too close to it, it's hard.
to clone myself and just have the clone in like a cryogenic chamber.
Yes.
And when I'm like going through something, I just like Thor the clone who's able to look at me as a separate entity and go, here's what you should do. And I go,
truly,
awesome.
It's always so much harder when it's for you.
Yeah,
it's always. But when it's for someone else, it's like
it's easy.
You can use your brain
because there's no stakes. You're like, you can just tell them, just go do this, and it's easy because you don't have to actually action it and have that like difficult conversation.
Yeah, you can be like, go do this, and that, and they're like, well, fuck you, that's so hard to do, and I'm like, whatever, it's not me as long as I'm not doing it.
I should tell my boss to go fuck himself. Yeah, man, I don't know, whatever.
Sounds perfect.
Sure.
Yeah, but so I think when you're someone who's either a person who's solution oriented or you're good at helping find solutions, people come to you for things all the time, which is so lovely. Yeah, but it can be a little.
It takes a toll. Yeah,
for sure. So it's about like better boundaries and wank, all that.
And some people are really good at just being. There is a sort of person that would be in the situation I was in after the show the other night.
Yes,
being like, hey man, I got to be I got to be honest.
I'm wrecked.
I'm so sorry. It's night one. Because the other thing was there's like there's this really nice Italian restaurant opposite Cooper's where I'm doing my show.
Oh yes, I've walked past it.
Yeah,
okay.
Every year I go in there for a little dinner after the first night. So all day, in the lead up, I'm so stressed, and I'm like, that's my little finish line.
That's your treat.
Do the show.
That's your treat.
Go across the street and have my little vodka rigatoni, and so I'm sitting there with him. And I'm just where I'm sitting.
You can see that they're slowly cleaning and putting the tables away.
And they're really like, I have this a lot where I go there where they're either just closed or they're full, and they've got like a weird edge to them where they love telling you that they can't get you in, and so I'm just imagining that interaction. I'm like looking over his shoulder, being like, God damn it, I am so fucking hungry.
God, you should have just made.
I'm like, as if that matters. It's like this guy's life is falling apart. And
but
I'm like,
he can go to therapy.
I want my sketty.
I want my sketty. Yeah, but the flip of that is, but you're allowed to want you go get yourself food. You're allowed to want your sketty.
Human right to want
to have your sketty, to want
PM.
and have your sketty after your first show. This is the thing, and I think when I think about socializing and being like a good socializer, I think there's positives and negatives to it, obviously.
Yep.
But I think the negative, and I think is figuring out how to put better boundaries of like, I'm hungry right now. I want to go get food, and I don't want to hear about your 90-minute solo show about go to therapy. Go to therapy. That's literally pay someone, because what you're getting from me is like my time, and it's worth more than this. Like I'm sure, whatever. So I think it's like learning, like that's been the thing this year. I was like, okay, this year we're going to be more selfish, and we're going to put clearer boundaries with people. Even if it's like as simple as the other night, I was with a friend, and then we saw some other people, and I was like, and my friend was like, do you want to go there? And I go, I can't think of anything worse than speaking to that person. So I won't come with you.
No,
but I was clear, because I didn't want to be rude to my friend. I was like, I'd love to spend more time with you, but I have no interest in making small talk with that person over there. So I'm going to go here, and you do what you want. I don't care. But it was such a clear boundary.
Yeah, that's
that
good.
They were like, okay, cool. Like, I'm going to go speak to them for a couple minutes, and then I'll come with you.
Dying to know who this person was now.
And you probably know him.
This is another one for the off-air files. Yeah, this is a recurring thing where someone gets into a story, and then I go, I'm going to just take a note about that one. Remember to find out when we.
It's not even, you know what? It's not even that, this is so mean, but it's like, it's not even that the people that I'm referencing or whatever are that horrible. But I just think if they are someone who's an oversharer, and I know I'm walking into that den and I don't want to because we're not friends, so you don't deserve, I'm not a receptacle.
I'm not gonna.
No.
Yeah, I get
And
you.
I know sometimes I can't help myself but be, how are you? And if you're like, I'm good, and I can tell something's wrong, I'll be like, well, did you have a good day? Are you okay? Whatever, So it's like almost like that thing of like, just accept whatever they say. Don't dig. You don't need to. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If they're saying they're good, they're good. Don't ask more questions. Walk off, but I remember who was it? I saw a comedian, and I had only met him, 5 or 10 times, and I said to him, how are you? And he was like, good. And I go, are you okay? Have you had a weird day? Like something seems off. And he literally was like, how can you tell? Like I literally was crying before this. And I was just like, oh really? And he was like, yeah, I watched this weird documentary and it just made me feel weird and da-da. And then we got into this like lovely conversation.
Yeah, great.
But it was that thing where it was like, I've met you 5 times, but I could tell something was a little off with you.
Yeah, okay.
Which is great. Valuable superpower. Love it. But I don't always need to deploy it.
Yeah, I get you.
You know?
Yeah.
Like I don't need a push.
So being good at reading people and being a bit of a commit, because I've got a friend who's very much like not the joke, but the thing about him in our group is like, he's one of those people that you can put in front of anyone.
Yeah.
And he knows like at least a bit about almost everything. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Okay, yes.
So you can drop him in front of someone and they're like, yeah, I love fishing. And he's like, oh, yeah.
What
he's got like a little bit of knowledge about so many different things. Yeah, he's the
general knowledge friend. Okay.
And I just feel like, again, the older I get, the more I'm just like zeroing in on a few different things to the detriment of like everything else out there in the world, which is the worst way to be, because like that thing of feeling like saying before, like I don't feel like I'm that good socially a lot of the time. It is just like, especially after gigs where someone comes and chats to you and, and you get a sense of their interests and whatever, and you're like, I wish I knew anything about that. But
I actually think knowing a little bit about anything, I appreciate those people, but I'm not. Like you don't want me on your team when you go do trivia. I have no sense of general nothing.
I had a bit in my show about that, about how I never feel worse about myself than when I go to trivia. I just know fucking nothing. And the only thing I do know anything about is pop culture. Yeah. And then the pop culture questions at trivia are so insulting. It's like, what's the name of the main character in the film Shrek? And everyone's like falling over themselves to give the answer. And you're like, can you all just
This is all I had.
I've contributed fucking nothing to the rest of the night. Can you just let me have this one?
Just shut up and let me tell you it's Shrek.
Feeling like a fucking loser who contributes nothing to the world.
It's true though. It's like when you've got so little to offer, it's like everyone else shut up, let me just say this one thing.
Yeah.
I know. I think I really respect people. Even like for me, I'm like, being social is the thing I'm good at. I can't book flights. I can't do taxes. I have no other skills. And I used to like be insecure and be like, fuck, do I need to get better? And now as I get older, I go, I've got what I've got. I've got nothing else to offer you.
Like your answers to like pretty much everything on the survey were about being social in some way.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it is like, it's maybe the most important thing. Like,
yeah, but it's so it's not undervalued. I think it's very important, but I'm non-functional in every other way.
It's an example of a thing that like so many things, and stand-ups like this, if you're doing it really well, it seems effortless, right? So it's not a thing that people would really, people would sit around, people would spend time with you and be like, wow, I had a great time.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't necessarily go, that's because she's really good socially. They just,
literally,
it's just viewed as
seamless.
Like a God-given right to just sit in a room and have an enjoyable time with a fellow human being.
Totally.
And the same with stand-up is like, you work really hard to make it look like you're just coming up with it on the fly. And it's like,
I got a review a couple of years ago and they were like, it would have been a great show had she not made 90% of it up on the spot. First of all, bitch, the only thing you've reviewed is opera and you decide to dip your toe into comedy with me the first time I've ever done an hour on stage and the first show you come to. Now it's like there's let's call 15% is like audience interaction because I have people fill in a prompt.
I'm fascinated by this. You give people little different prompts every night?
So every night I change the prompt. It's one prompt per night. So it's like last night's was like, who or what was your sexual awakening? And the night before was like, what makes you feel sexy? Mm-hmm. And so as people come in, they fill it in and then they put it in a jar. And it's because the show is like very silly and it's about sex and relationships and whatever. But I found like putting something almost anonymous in helps break them up a little bit. Yep. Also, they've come in, they've put something down. They're kind of a little more invested.
Sure.
So you're cashing someone in quickly. But like, so the concern for this show is like, how do you go from like crowd work into jokes? And the jokes are quite conversational. But if you saw the show 3 nights in a row, you're getting the same punchlines. They might be told a smidge differently because of the vibe, or I'm trying to emphasize a different word. But the perception, if you saw that show, would be I'm just talking. Yeah. I'm running my mouth. I'm like, no, I've worked on these jokes.
Yeah.
They, especially when I'm dealing with conversations or like topics like consent or like you know, sexualization or whatever, it's like I've thought about these. I'm not just coming up and throwing the word consent at you like willy-nilly, you know what I mean? But I remember getting that review.
I didn't decide to just riff on the topic of consent. I'll find some gold in
I'll
here.
find something about choking in this.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm sure
like
I
what?
won't accidentally say the wrong thing in the heat of the moment if I just riff on this topic.
But because I'm so light on my feet, people literally, the perception is like, oh, she's just shit talking.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And it's like, no, it just seems that way. Whereas when you go to a comedian who's like, da 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 da, ha ha ha, da da da,
Yeah,
you're
that
like,
rhythm.
oh, look how hard they've worked on that material. It's like, you know, like
What are some of the best prompts you've gotten so far?
so
Or like responses to the prompts, I
I'm
should
trying
say.
to think.
It is one of
Last
those things that I've seen you post about, and it's like,
They're
I think a
silly.
lot of people would feel this way. It's like, God, I wish I'd thought of that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's such a good idea for a festival
it's really
show.
silly, but I'm hoping because the shows, this venue that I'm in is 40 or 50, and I've only had up to 35 in so far. And so the shows have been, 6:40 p.m. Let me talk about Shrek. It's like Fiona's transforming, like literally sun setting, and people are like slowly becoming more alive. So it's really, I mean, you hit 7 and they've been in there for 25 minutes already, and now they're like relaxing because they've like decompressed from work. Last night, not a single one had a drink.
Oh, brutal.
So they're all sitting there stone cold sober because
Yeah.
they're saving their money and whatever to go to have a dinner at 7:30.
Yeah.
But so some of the answers are really funny. Like there was a really bad show one of the nights, and the answers were ridiculous. I mean, it was like some stuff about raving and some stuff about being poly, and then I looked into the crowd and I said, "Who the fuck is this now? You're all sitting here stone faced. Like who wrote this? Who wrote this? Because you're pretending to be boring bitches in real
I
life."
would think like, have I been pranked? Did a stranger just walk past?
I
And they
felt
went into the
psychotic.
show? Yeah.
No, I literally said to them at one point, because they were so boring, I literally said to them at one point, I said, I don't know who you're pretending to be either on these papers or in real life, but you're gaslighting me because you're not being yourself,
Yeah.
Psychotic. And so there've been some really funny answers. Last night's, the sexy one, like what makes you feel sexy, it was like funny because it was majority women, and it was like, a man dropping his card down, like spending big money. And it's like just such the phrasing of things, so it's really silly, and people just...
That is like an interesting, window into people's 9 p.m. persona at 6:30. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. It's like I wish that the show was later and people had had a couple drinks because they'd be more rowdy, and a big part of the show is like we're talking about sex and we're engaging and whatever. So that's been a good learning curve, but the submissions are really fun. I almost would love to do a full show of like, I don't know if it's like right in a scenario. I don't know how you do it, but I would, because then it's a fully improvised show.
Yeah.
But I would love to figure out how to do something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how, I don't know what you do, but
I want to put you to the test quickly, your ability to read people on the spot.
What
kind of day do you think I've had so far, based on our 50 minutes of interaction so far? What do you think my last 24 hours has been like?
24 hours or day?
Well,
or like
I
this
don't know.
morning?
Up to you, whatever's easy, because it's like it's in the morning, so there hasn't been a ton of day.
Yeah,
but
true. Okay,
what kind of vibe are you getting?
I'm going to
so
take
far?
a swing. I feel like yesterday was a good day, but today's been nothing so far. Like it's average, but maybe I'm wrong. But also you might be faking it because you know that you're recording something people...
That's true. That's true.
But I feel like the conversation we had off air, we're both frustrated.
Yeah. Yeah, I think yesterday it really got to me.
Yes.
Today I'm a little bit more like, oh well.
Okay.
And this is so nerdy.
feel-
There's an event tonight that I am just fucking gassed up for. So that's
okay.
that's giving me
Interesting.
life. That's
Okay.
really getting me through.
Okay, that's good.
I've got like my big group of friends coming to the show tonight.
Oh, fun.
So that'll be fun. And then there's like a thing online that I'm going to watch at midnight.
Okay, great. So you'll have fun. What is it at midnight?
It's
like a
it's
launch
a
of
video
something?
game reveal.
Oh my God,
thing.
classic. Yeah. Okay, love that.
Just saying, it's
reveal.
like a live stream thing that I have to watch at midnight makes it sound like some sort of OnlyFans.
I was going to say, I don't know what someone's dropping at midnight, but best of luck to you. Get the tissues and the lube, I guess. God, that's crazy. I love how everything has like a drop now. Like, I'm like at midnight.
Yeah,
well, and people will say, it's probably
it's
what
like
America.
a global, so it's
okay.
like where the Australia time zone is obviously the lowest priority of these things, but
no one ever chooses something based on Australian time zone.
No,
what's that about?
Not at all.
No respect.
But I am so fucking tired.
Well, tonight's not going to help if you're going to.
I forgot how like just emotionally devastating, even if things are going fine, the festival is.
But you know what I think? Here's what I'll say about, I mean, this is not really socializing. This might be too therapy woo-woo, but I think I'm trying more to surrender to just whatever's happening. Yeah, it's like, yes, it is tiring. Yes, it is shit. There's so much that could be better, but I'm like, I can only control what I can control.
I've been telling myself that a lot.
It.
And I think that's what was so frustrating for me yesterday was like, even though you know you've got that in your head, it's one of those things. Again, it's like what we're talking about, the advice to other people. It's like, why aren't I fucking following this?
Course.
I know I keep saying this to myself. I keep telling other people that's what I'm doing. Why can't I actually be actioning it?
Yes.
One final question. This is what I ask everyone. If you could like snap your fingers right now and be an expert in, you know, everything about something. So it can be a skill, it can be a topic, it can be, you know, just a piece of like wisdom or whatever. If you could be like immediately completely knowledgeable in something, what would you pick?
Is all human history too much?
No.
I think history.
You want to know everything about...
Literally.
Yeah.
I think that history is just so fascinating, and I often weirdly like have little references to like history or like just random shit in my show. I also studied like ancient history, modern history and extension history in school.
That's such a blind spot for me when it comes up. People are like,
really?
Oh, when the Crusades happen, I'm like,
See, but my memory is terrible. So I'm like, the Crusades, I'm like, sounds delicious. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, bitch. So it's like, I wish that's why. But I love history, because also history is just humans being weird. I find humans, like, I think if I could can I give advice? Okay, I'm going to give a piece of advice. If you are not sure how to be social, because I know people get social anxiety, or like literally like sometimes people are like, you're so good at talking to people. Like, what do you do? This sounds so silly, but it's like, just figure out what you find curious about a person.
Yes.
Figure out like what about you is really interesting to me. And it can be inane. Like it can be like, where did you get that jacket from? Or it can be like, hey, you had cancer. Like what the fuck was that? You know, it does not matter the scale of it. But if you're ever with someone, you're like, hey, how are you? And they're like, good, how are you? And you're like, fuck. What else do I say?
This is a dead end.
Pick their shoes. Pick something that you just find that you genuinely have curiosity in about the person or the place you're in or whatever, because I can feel when you're curious about something, and I can feel when you're going through the motions, and I might not be conscious of it, but it's like a gut instinct. And so like, I think with human history or just like people, the reason I find history interesting is it's just human behavior, and it's fascinating. It's like weird, and like people make weird choices, and like, you know, you can like, and it's, you know, people have interpreted history differently, and like also it's like you can see history repeats itself. Human nature has like kind of a certain set of rules that we all just, we're monkeys. We keep doing the same. There's something in our monkey brain.
My parents went to Europe like 2 years ago or something, and Dad was talking about it the other day, and being in Rome and going to the Colosseum, and he was like, oh, it's just so awful. I'm like, what do you mean? It's like pretty amazing. And he's like, yeah, but you know, like what happened in there, it's just like barbaric. And I'm like, yeah, of course, but like, I don't know, don't you think that's kind of cool? That was just us. Like,
it's sick.
Really not even in the history of the universe and Earth.
I mean, that shit's like this.
Not that long ago.
No, it's like a blink considering.
It's fascinating. Yeah. It's like, that was a thing that was in the world. Yeah. That no one then would have been like, well, they're going to get rid of this at some point. Like,
but also, have we just reformed the idea of gladiators? Because even you think about like, what are those like gaming things now where people go and watch guys like do the games?
Oh, like esports?
Yeah, like there's esports. Tell me that's not gladiators for modern day pussies. Come on. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like these bitches won't actually fight each other, but they'll press a few buttons. That's gladiator shit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
it's human nature. It's
sports. It's like it's sports.
It's sports. They're pressing buttons, but okay, fine. I don't want to offend anyone.
No. I mean, sport is the modern equivalent of the Colosseum.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah, true. I forgot about sport. Okay. My bad. I forgot about rugby.
How am I not the one making the link to video games? No. I mean, true. Like, it's like all that stuff. It's like people gathering for distraction, for entertainment. Yeah. At a certain point, they're like,
exactly.
I guess it is probably a bit much to be feeding people to an actual line. What if we just get a little ball in there and they're kicking that around? Everyone can enjoy that.
But it's just human nature. That's the thing. The one positive I'll say about comedy and the online world changing and stuff is like people who can go and get massive TikTok followings or this or that. It's like, but the human need to storytell and be sitting around or being in a gladiator arena or whatever, humans will always need a sense of connection, and so being good at comedy or being good at connecting with people, it's invaluable. It's funny. Sitting around a fire. It's sitting around a fire in a cave.
It is funny to think about people in the Colosseum just going feral like they do at an AFL game. Like you get eaten to death by a lion and someone's just yelling out, "Cop that, you white maggot!" The last thing you hear. All right. Well, thanks heaps, Jess.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Alrighty, Jess FUCHS. Let me know what you thought of this episode. Patreon.com/howtodoeverything. There's a free tier on there right now where you can leave your feedback post-episode and also chime in with a discussion about anything that tickled you in this episode. What is your childhood email address? What would you be coming to my themed email address dress-up party as? That's what I want to know. Let's get a good little spread of these going on. Are you good at connecting with people, and what's the secret? Or do you feel a bit more, I don't know, I don't think I'm good at it. Maybe I'm better at it than I think I am. Are you good at moving house and clearing out stuff? Because I'll tell you this, I recorded this episode like 3 weeks ago or something, and I still have a car boot and spare room full of shit that I have to get rid of at the end of this week. So that's been not a whole lot of fun. Did you have a 21st or 30th or whatever where your parents went too hog wild like mine did? Let me know anything that sparked something for you in this episode. I always love to hear it. We're also on Instagram at How to Do Everything Podcast. You can message me. You can comment on posts. You can share the reels around. You know how that app works. You know what you can do. I'm just reminding you. Something else you can also do is to give us a review on your podcast player of choice. It all does really help, unless it's negative, in which case it has something of a detrimental effect. But hey, if it's positive, it all helps. It all helps get the word out. Let people know about the show if you've enjoyed it. And definitely go check out Jess's show. She's in Sydney, I believe the same weekend that I am there. She's doing 3 shows. I'm just doing the one. So follow her all over social media. She's at Jess FUCHS. She's great. She's a killer. I've seen her headline this Comedy Store a bunch of times. She absolutely crushes. You're in very safe hands. She's very, very funny. So that is going to do us for this week's episode. We will be back, wouldn't you know it, next week with a new episode. Goodbye.